Ever hear the phrase, you reap what you sow? Well, what if you sowed a little too much, like way too much? We're talking enough seedlings to make Mother Nature blush. Did you know a single radish plant can produce up to 60,000 seeds? Imagine if every single one decided to sprout in your backyard overnight. Don't worry, you're not alone. I've been there, done that, and accidentally sprouted enough tomatoes to feed a small village. Welcome back to Don't Do This Guide, the channel where we turn your uh-oh moments into aha solutions. Okay, picture this. You sprinkled some seeds in your garden a while back, maybe even forgot about them a little. Happens to the best of us. And bam! You head out there one morning, and it's like a tiny green army has sprung up overnight. It's exciting, right? All that potential. But then it hits you. Did every single seed have to germinate? I remember when this happened to me. I had this big plan for a perfectly spaced out veggie patch. And suddenly, it was like someone replaced my garden with a chia pet on steroids. I'm talking seedlings packed together tighter than a clown car at rush hour. At first, it's kind of cute. All those little sprouts reaching for the sky. But then you start to see the problem. They're so close, they're practically sitting on each other's shoulders. Not exactly ideal for growing prize-winning pumpkins or even a decent head of lettuce. And that, my friends, is when the panic sets in. You start thinking, what have I done? Don't worry, we've all been there. But before you start drawing up blueprints for a backyard greenhouse extension, take a deep breath. There are solutions. All right, so why is all this seedling snuggling such a big deal? Well, imagine you're at a concert, right? You're pumped, the music's great, but then you realize you're stuck in the middle of a mosh pit. No room to breathe, no space to dance, just elbows and sweaty bodies everywhere. Not fun, right? That's kind of what it's like for your plants when they're overcrowded. They're all competing for the same resources, sunlight, water, nutrients, and there's just not enough to go around. It's like trying to share a single slice of pizza with your entire extended family. Someone's gonna go hungry, and in this case, it's probably gonna be your plants. This competition leads to stunted growth, weak stems, and a higher risk of diseases spreading. Basically, you end up with a bunch of scraggly, unhappy plants instead of the lush, bountiful garden of your dreams. All right, so how do we fix this overcrowding situation? Well, it's time to channel your inner gardener and master the art of thinning. Now, I know it sounds brutal, but trust me, it's for the greater good of your garden. Think of it like this. You're giving your chosen seedlings a fighting chance to reach their full potential. Plus, not die. The key to successful thinning is to be ruthless. No, seriously. Don't get emotionally attached to every single sprout. Remember, we're going for quality, not quantity here. Start by identifying the healthiest, most robust seedlings in each clump. They should be the tallest, sturdiest looking ones. Think of it like a plant pageant, only the strongest and most fabulous survive. Once you've identified the winners, it's time to say goodbye to their less fortunate siblings. Gently pinch off the weaker seedlings at the soil level. I know it feels wrong, but trust me, your remaining plants will thank you for it. Now, before you go tossing those thinned seedlings on the compost heap, hold on. Just because they didn't make the cut in their original location doesn't mean they're destined for plant purgatory. Remember those extra seedlings we ruthlessly, but lovingly, thinned out? Well, get ready to give them a second chance at life. Transplanting might sound intimidating, but it's actually pretty straightforward. It's like giving your seedlings a change of scenery, a fresh start in a new zip code. First things first, you're going to need some extra pots or even just empty yogurt containers, rinsed out of course. Fill them with some good quality potting mix, moisten it well, and gently tease apart the roots of the seedlings you want to transplant. Now, here's the key. Handle those seedlings with care. Imagine you're a surgeon performing a delicate operation. You want to disturb those roots as little as possible. Once you've got your seedlings situated in their new digs, give them a good watering and find a nice sunny spot for them to chill out and recover. Okay, so maybe you've thinned and transplanted until your thumbs are green, and not just from the dirt, but you've still got seedlings coming out your ears. What now? Well, my friend, it's time to spread the gardening love. Remember all those extra seedlings we rescued from the compost pile? Well, they're about to become the stars of their very own gardening show, starring your friends, family, and neighbors. Think about it. Who wouldn't love a little gift that keeps on growing? Plus, it's a great way to bond over a shared love of all things green, and maybe even score some free tomatoes in the process. You can even get creative and host a little seedling swap party. Everyone brings their extra plants, and you can trade, share tips, and swap gardening war stories. Now that we've tackled the immediate seedling overload, let's talk about preventing this green invasion from happening again next year. Enter succession planting, your secret weapon for a bountiful and, dare I say, organized garden. Think of succession planting like this. Instead of cramming all your seeds into the ground at once and ending up with a veggie mosh pit, you're strategically staggering your plantings over a few weeks. This way, you'll have a continuous harvest throughout the season, instead of one giant, overwhelming wave of produce. Plus, it helps prevent those bare patches in your garden where weeds love to take over. Start by figuring out the average days to maturity for the crops you're growing. You can usually find this info on the back of the seed packet. Then divide that number by 2 or 3, and that's how often you'll want to sow a new batch of seeds. All right, let's talk microgreens. These tiny nutritional powerhouses are like the superheroes of the salad bowl. And guess what? You can easily grow them from, you guessed it, those extra seedlings you thought you couldn't handle. Think of it like this. Instead of letting those baby plants take up precious real estate in your garden, you're giving them a VIP upgrade to microgreen status. The best part is, you don't need any fancy equipment or a green thumb the size of Texas to grow these little guys. A simple, shallow tray, some potting mix, and a sunny windowsill are all you need. Sprinkle your seeds, water them regularly, and in about a week or 2, you'll have a gourmet-worthy garnish for your sandwiches, salads, and even soups. Okay, so maybe you've exhausted all your other options and you're still left with a few too many seedlings. Don't worry, there's one final solution that even Mother Nature would approve of. Composting. Think of it like this. Even though those seedlings didn't quite make it to the big leagues of your garden, they can still contribute to its overall health and well-being. It's like a recycling program for your plants, where nothing goes to waste. Now I know what you're thinking. Composting sounds complicated, but trust me, it's easier than you think. You can get fancy with a multi-compartment system, or you can keep it simple with a designated pile in a corner of your yard. Just toss in your extra seedlings along with other organic matter like kitchen scraps, yard waste, and shredded paper. Over time, those seedlings will break down into nutrient-rich compost that you can add back to your garden, completing the circle of life. All right, my fellow green thumbs, let's face it. Sometimes our enthusiasm for gardening gets the best of us, and we end up with a seed-sowing frenzy that would make Johnny Appleseed proud. But fear not. With a few simple strategies, you can avoid the great seedling overload of 2024. First things first, resist the urge to plant that entire packet of seeds. I know it's tempting, but trust me, a little restraint goes a long way. Before you even think about grabbing your trowel, take some time to plan out your garden. Measure your space, decide what you want to grow, and then here's the crucial part. Calculate how many plants you can realistically fit. Remember, those little seedlings are going to grow up, and they're going to need some breathing room. Another pro tip, sow your seeds thinly. I know it seems counterintuitive, but trust me on this one. It's much easier to thin out a few extra seedlings than it is to try and salvage an overcrowded jungle. So you planted too many seeds. It happens to the best of us. The important thing is to remember that gardening, just like life, is all about learning and adapting. Every mistake, every overgrown seedling, is an opportunity to refine your skills and deepen your connection with the natural world. Embrace the journey, celebrate the small victories, like successfully transplanting a tiny seedling, and don't be afraid to experiment. Remember, the most rewarding gardens are often the ones that have been nurtured through trial and error. So, go forth, my fellow gardeners, and plant those seeds with confidence. And hey, if you happen to overplant a little or a lot, don't sweat it. We've all been there. Just remember the tips and tricks we've covered, and you'll be well on your way to transforming that seedling chaos into a thriving, bountiful garden. Found these tips helpful? Give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more gardening adventures with Don't Do This Guide. Got your own gardening stories or questions? Drop them in the comments below. Let's learn and grow together. Thanks for joining me on this journey from seedling chaos to garden bliss. Until next time, happy planting.